fucking go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This time we're going to be breaking down the brand new trailer that was released today, like I said in my previous video, which you can check that out. In that video, I broke down the poster, and when they revealed the poster, they did tease that they would be releasing a brand new trailer today, so that's what we're going to be getting into. So let's cut into the chase, and let's break this trailer down. Well, kicking things off, we do have a shot that we've seen in the original trailers, but now we know what this scene is from, where Dante is getting swarmed and attacked by this mercenary group that kind of calls back to the manga, but also very similar to like Bruce Banner from the original Incredible Hulk. And honestly, it does kind of call back to the manga a little bit with the Tony Redgrave stuff, and also this mercenary group has been shown a lot in the previous trailers, and I do have a bit of a theory. And also we do get some action shots with Dante kind of dodging their gunfire, and also the voice at the beginning of this I do feel is the leader of this mercenary group when they say priority red target or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's the leader talking. Why they're trying to hunt down Dante and having him killed, I have no idea. Next shot we do have is kind of a reference to Devil May Cry 3 as well, with the record player and also saying I work better with music. It's kind of a funny line because Devil May Cry is known for being, well, known for its music. Also, we do have a couple other shots as well, as like a beam going into the sky, and you have like the normal everyday people and some stuff like that. So like a demon invasion, you know, like we do get some shots with like some creatures, they're trying to attack people and a couple other stuff. And then you see like an injured Dante nearby the lights. So I don't know when this would be taking place. And then we get some more shots of the rabbit, which I have my theories on him in a bit. But honestly, we have him with the Sparta sword, which pretty interesting, and he does say it's like the age of the demon, but he like takes this sword and cracks it open like it's been rusted over, and he finds it in a museum. So going through the shots, having Dante at his shop, which obviously it makes sense for him to like go through the record player and stuff like that, and then you have like the stuff in the human world where this portal opens up. I don't know when this happens, but going into the rabbit. Okay, the fucking rabbit's awesome. Now, he gets Sparta's sword, and honestly, I feel like they're giving the rabbit more to do, and actually kind of making him like the Arkham of this show. And I feel like he actually is, but I'll get into that later. Or adapting some elements from the manga, but in the manga, he was just like created and then killed eventually by Virgil, and that was it. There wasn't him being this overall main villain or stuff like that. He was quick, fast, in a hurry, dead. And they are adapting some elements of the Dante manga and other stuff. They are giving some elements of Arkham's story from Devil May Cry 3 to this rabbit, and him a lot more deadly, because in the next shot, he's firing a bazooka at the police force that Lady works for, and it's pretty amazing. Then the next shot, you have him like trying to merge the amulets. Then you get a better look at all of these different demons from the Devil May Cry series, and then you have another shot of the rabbit like just trying to kill his way through the museum, and you have him like sword fighting and stuff like that, blocking bullets, and he's very efficient with a lot of different weaponry, and also kind of reminds me a bit of Virgil. Now, him merging the amulets is very interesting, considering that Virgil has his amulet, and the only other character that I can think of that would want the certain things to happen through these fights between the brothers is Arkham. And honestly, I feel like they're pulling a little bit of a DMC reboot where they're taking aspects of the lore and really mixing it around. And I think that's pretty interesting because he butchers through the different police force like effortlessly. Like he goes through the museum, he guys into a pillar, and I think he's retrieving the Sparta sword here, and he's just effortlessly like blocking bullets. And then the next shot, he has both the amulets around his neck entering through a portal. Then he says, unless Dante comes and meet us first. So this is pretty interesting because they're taking a bit from DMC 3 here. And then you have another shot with him with this army of demons, and he has a sword on his back. And of course you have a shot with Dante, and then Lady's injured behind him, and he's like, let's dance. So he of course fights them and stuff like that, followed up by another Arkham shot. So that's pretty interesting. So the rabbit somehow gets both the amulets, and somehow Time Negru is not a part of this because I haven't seen it in any shots, but there could be hiding it. And that's what I find interesting, is he has both these amulets and he's trying to get Dante to fight or stuff like that. I feel like the rabbit is going to be the Jester or the Arkham of this series, because in the manga there was the Mad Hatter and there was the White Rabbit, Rabbit, but the White Rabbit was like created and stuff like that. And I believe like there could be doing like something similar where it's like mixing a bunch of storylines together, and you have like Lady who's injured and stuff like that. She looks like she's dead, but she's not. And then they follow that up with, right after seeing her injured, you have a shot of Arkham. And I feel like he's going to be a main player in this series. And I feel like the shot that we get could be a flashback, but I also feel like he's going to be a big part of the overall series as the White Rabbit. Because Arkham is the reason for the events at Devil May Cry 3. And I feel like the White Rabbit throughout this entire trailer of him merging the amulets and all this various stuff, even though we don't see Tim and Negru anywhere, I feel like it's being hidden because they're pretty much doing the manga, mixing that with Devil May Cry 3. And I feel like that's pretty interesting because you have Dante, just like he did in the original trailer, shooting some stuff. And then you have like the stuff from like DMC 1 with him fighting that one creature, which is pretty cool. And honestly, the fight animations are pretty cool with that creature and stuff like that. And I feel like they are pulling a lot from the DMC 1 original book and also some other stuff. And then we get this shot. Now, this is the person I feel like they're talking about. And you have this green light and like hell and stuff like that. And I'll get into my theory there. Now, this is the boss I feel for the mercenaries, and it kind of looks like Joe Biden, which is pretty interesting because he is the one that we hear at the beginning of the trailer, him saying something to try to get the mercenaries to go after Dante and stuff like that. I feel like they are pulling a bit of a DMC 3, mixing that with 1. Now, this scene, I'm 50-50 on. I do feel like it could connect to the rabbit, but I also feel like this could be a flashback in hell, Sparta sealing the gate. Now, when it comes to the rabbit, we're probably going to have to learn a little bit more about Sparta's stuff. Now, we're going to flesh out the rabbit and Sparta a little bit, kind of like connections between Arkham and what's going on with Sparta back in the day. And I feel like that's going to be a main part of the overall series because Sparta is like the niche pin anyways. So yeah, I feel like that's going to be happening somewhat. Now, the next shot we get is the overall bike fight that we've seen a little bit, and Dante just using the bike to whack both Agni and Rujo, which is pretty cool, calling back to Devil May Cry 5. And yes, they have heads. I'm not a fan of that, but oh well. And we get more shots of that, and one of them is in like a veiny area. So that's pretty cool. The next shot we get is from the original trailer, where Dante is like falling out of an airplane, so he has to like, off the debris and other various stuff. And the next shot we get is Lady. So this is pretty cool. We kind of get her in like this team she has, of cops, and one of them kind of reminds me of a female Nightwing, which is actually pretty cool, and you get a good look at the team that she has, because she is a cop in this universe, which compared to like the original anime and Devil May Cry 3, do actually change the blue eye color to green, which is a little bit weird, but they do still keep it split, so it's not too bad. And obviously they have her versus the Chimera, which is pretty cool, and also Dante versus the electrical bat creature, and more of that fight. We followed up with the White Rabbit's attack on the bridge, with Lady being in the crossfire, and also her holding up a gun and saying the iconic line about not being able to trust a demon. And you also have Dante in some type of a shop, and he does kind of pull a bit of a trickster move. As this scene is going on and she's running, you have a fight between her and Dante. She's actually kind of spouting some of the similar rhetoric that she said in Devil May Cry 3. So this is actually pretty cool. You have her versus Dante, kind of in a different facet than the original fight between her and Dante in Devil May Cry 3. And her like jet boots and also some like cop weaponry, which is pretty cool. The thing is that in Devil May Cry 3, her role in that was kind of to challenge Dante's character, to make him a little bit more softer, and also to understand his place and all this. I feel like with her father being a part of that game, her main thing is killing all demons, including her father. I feel like that could be something that is a big part of this series. But even in Devil May Cry 3, there was a bit of flirty interactions between her and Dante, but also there was like her kind of challenging him in some aspects, because her goal was to kill her father. And this, there is a bit of that calls back to that, but it's also kind of just flirting for the sake of it. Him kind of flirting with her after she rips off his shirt is kind of funny with her reaction, but honestly, it feels a little off a little bit, but it does have that Devil May Cry 3 flair. But my biggest issue is that in Devil May Cry 3, Dante was a lot more callous, that he didn't give a shit and he's just doing things arbitrarily. I don't really get a sense of that in this moment or in the trailer as a whole. And then you have Lady just kick Dante right in the face. So typical Lady. But, you know, other shots, there's some action shots of him spinning the sword and a couple other things. You have more of the mercenary fight in a shop, and then you have another shot of the White Rabbit shooting a bazooka at a bus and Dante having to block it with Rebellion, which is pretty cool, and it shows that Rebellion is practically indestructible, and it does kind of call back to some stuff when it comes to the manga. Again, it's pretty cool. Also, you do have like the flaming stuff, so like it shows that Rebellion can just like absorb damage. You have more of the fight and also a kaiju and Dante shooting some guns in a familiar environment, which I'll get into later. And then you have him in this red like dream sequence being taunted by the rabbit. So the kaiju thing, cool. Don't know what they're going to be doing with that. Just like a demon being summoned or something, or like a fusion. Dante shooting some guns. Not Ebony and Ivory, but that sequence is pretty interesting because it looks like the Hell sequence earlier, but not completely, where that one was brown. And then you have like a dream sequence that kind of calls back to some stuff with the White Rabbit almost taunting a figure, which I believe is Dante. So later on, he is injured to a fight, which I kind of believe is the one that we saw earlier in the trailer. And also we do get the White Rabbit blowing up stuff and he still has the amulets. So we have like a reaction of Dante and then like Lady and Dante fighting and him chopping up her stuff. And then you have Mundus and more of the bridge fight, which you actually get to see the Chimera as well. And also Cerberus, which is pretty cool. And also the mercenaries are trying to blow up and kill Dante, which bronze. But the White Rabbit having the amulets at this point is pretty interesting. And him blowing up a building is kind of okay. Weird. Dante's reaction to it must be like somebody was in there that's important. And then you have Mundus here. I don't know when this scene is going to be. I think this is probably going to be in a flashback or maybe later on in the series. We do get the stuff with the bridge fight, which is pretty cool. We've gotten that. And also we do, I think this is Cerberus. I honestly think that's Cerberus. And then we get the best shot in the trailer early on is, you know, leaving so soon. And you have Virgil in the trailer. He makes his appearance. He just walks through fire. I don't know when this scene takes place, but it's like at a place. And you have his outfit look spot on. And he has the crystal. So he still has his amulet. It does make me wonder how he loses it after this scene or something like that. So Virgil is here. Don't know if it's down Southworth voicing him, but it sounds like it, but I'm not for certain. So he does have his amulet at this point. So at some point he has to lose it because this is kind of taking a bit of inspiration from the manga, and his reaction, at least Dante's, is kind of priceless. So he's like, oh shit. We know that Virgil is now in the series. This is officially confirmed, but at some point, you know, Dante awakens his devil trigger at some point in the trailer. So we see that just like in Devil May Cry 3. So that's pretty cool. Honestly, when it comes to this trailer, it's not bad. I can't play any of the music or some of that stuff, and I'm hoping this doesn't get me copyrighted by like trying to break down the trailer, but who cares? Honestly, I will say that I like what we've seen so far. I am a bit curious what they're up to because it does kind of act like they're doing a mixture of the manga with Devil May Cry 3 and also taking elements from like the original anime when it comes to like the minuscule villain becoming the big bad near the end, and kind of like taking a bit of a reboot approach when it comes to like the lore and stuff like that. Now, Mundus has been seen barely, but the rabbit has kind of been taking a lot of like the Arkham approach where he's like merging the amulets, he's like challenging stuff. And I feel like him being the main villain is pretty interesting. We don't see the Jester and we don't see Mad Hatter, so they're kind of like maybe changing that to where the form that Arkham takes is the White Rabbit. So that's pretty interesting. Whether or not that's true, and this is all just my theory, because he does get, you know, Lady to go against Dante, and you also have him with the Sparta sword, and him kind of getting the Sparta sword outside of the demon world is pretty interesting. And the only person that I could think of that got that sword is Arkham in Devil May Cry 3. So I feel like they're kind of mixing together a lot of stuff. and him having like the amulets at this point, so him having like Virgil's somehow, he gets it from him. Whether he defeats him, which is pretty much impossible, I don't know. Now, Mundus's role in this trailer is very small. We get like one shot, and I'm betting it's going to be a flashback. I'm hands down. If it's not, it's going to be a tease. For Virgil's design, we don't get a really good look at it, but it does have some DMC 3 influence, and I kind of like the face stuff. So it's pretty cool. I like what they're doing. I really hope you guys enjoyed this like breakdown, because like I'm really hyped for this series. I know there's been like a little bit of like here and there, but I do like it. I do like what they're doing. I do have some hope that it's going to be a great series. I'm not going to just shit on it just cuz. So yeah, I have my problems with some of the designs, but I am genuinely looking forward to it. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, or any of that. And also let me know some of your theories as well. Stay tuned. Peace out. Bye-bye.